When I was growing up, we had cats when I was young. It wasn't really an option to have a dog. But in my teenage years, the family dynamic had changed a bit, and there were people around the house. We were living in a different part of the country, and the opportunity came up to get a dog. And it was a rescue dog that we got from the RSPCA. She was called Kim. She was a Labrador cross with Doberman. And I think my parents were a little bit worried. They wanted something a bit smaller, but we ended up with Kim. And we all fell in love with her. She was such a lovely dog, so good-natured. And she was fine for about 12 years. I had her there all through my teenage years. And then I moved in with my then girlfriend, now wife. And Kim was kind of always there. And then suddenly she wasn't. She got ill, and it turned out that she had liver cancer. And I don't think there was really any other option. Kim had reached the end of her life. That was it. It was put her to sleep and say goodbye. And of course it was hard, it was tough, and I don't remember there being talk of any kind of other options really. But little did I know then that nearly 3 decades later I would have that dilemma myself with my own dog. But had veterinary science moved on enough in those 30 years to give me some different options? So this is my dog Amber. She's 13 years and about 3 months old. And I'm going through, well, I'm not going through it, she's going through it, some health issues at the moment. For the first few years of our marriage, my wife and I didn't have any pets. We were both working full time. And then my wife decided to stop working. And after a couple of years, it became clear that she wasn't going to go back. So getting a dog became a distinct possibility. So in 2007, we got Misty. She was a lovely dog, a blue roan English Show Cocker Spaniel. Such a good-natured dog, just didn't have a nasty bone in her body. She was so lovely. And we had her for a couple of years and thought, this is great. Why would you not want to get another one? She's fast asleep.
I can't believe how she settled.
I know.
Because normally they're quite fidgety, and it's like, let me get back in that pen. You've obviously got it there. You've obviously got the touch. Oh. Look at all that spare flesh she's got to fill on her back. That's that's her love handle.
Who, Mel or the puppy?
Hey, she's a slim little thing, petite little thing. She don't need to lose any weight.
So this is the issue that I'm having with Amber at the moment, and because just a few weeks after we lost Misty, unfortunately Amber started to go downhill a little bit herself, which is not great, and it turns out that she actually has liver cancer, so that's not good. Now there are 2 types of liver cancer you can get. Evidently one is sort of spread throughout the liver, and if you've got that, then pretty much your number's up. She's got a mass, a tumour, and hopefully, and I'm just waiting to hear about this, they can actually remove that part of the liver, take the mass out completely, and then the liver will kind of recover, and the prognosis, if they do that, evidently is quite good. So they've taken some samples, taken a needle biopsy from the part of the liver that looks okay to see whether it is, and if it is, then they'll operate, and I'm going to hear about that tomorrow. But at the same time, those needle biopsies are not brilliant, because evidently cancer cells can look very like liver cells, so they won't necessarily give them a completely clear picture. But if they do take the mass out, then they would take a bigger biopsy they could put on a slide, and then they look at all the cell structure, and they can make a much closer decision on whether, or clearer decision really, on whether actually she is cancer free in the rest of her liver. Some owners would question whether to go through the emotional trauma, and let's face it rather, the not inconsiderable expense of these medical procedures. I mean, just the CT scan that she had the other day, I'm yet to get the full bill in, but I think it's going to be about 3.5 grand just for a CT scan. I mean, an incredible machine that does a sort of 3D modelling, and they would use that CT scan to know exactly where the tumour is if they remove it. So it gives them a lot of very vital information. It's not just a case of saying, yes, he's got a tumour. It's actually information, data that they can use if they come to remove it. I have no idea how much the operation will cost to remove it, to be honest with you. I have no idea, and I don't know where I'll get the money from. Insurance will cover some of it, but not all. Well, if they can take it out and she can get another few months, maybe another 18 months, maybe even another couple of years, as a percentage of her overall lifespan, that's a huge amount of time for her. It's years in sort of human terms. So I think it's a no-brainer. I'd find the money. I'd sell a kidney or something. I'd find the money from somewhere. So, but I can't get ahead of myself. I just have to take one day at a time.
Charles treated his dog as pets, but other spaniels continued to develop their useful skills, working as hunting dogs. This is an English Springer Spaniel. Even before Charles II's time, its role was to flush out game during a hunt. They would literally spring the birds out of the bushes, which gave the breed its name.
Wait.
So I had a phone call from the vet yesterday evening. It was 1 till 6:30 in the evening. So it's a long day waiting for the phone call. But it's a specialist vet. Effectively, it's the accident and emergency of veterinary medicine. So, I mean, they have emergencies coming in all the time and they've got all sorts of stuff going on. Anyway, the long and short of it is that the biopsy in the part of the liver without the tumour came back, looks okay, as they thought that it would. So we've got a decision to make now whether we put her through surgery to take the tumour out, and the prognosis there is actually pretty good. However, she's 13. There's also question marks about what they will find when they open her up, because not CT scan can't pick up everything, neither can a needle biopsy. So there's always a chance that it could be so bad when they open her up of unexpected things that they even have to euthanize her on the table. She said that is incredibly rare, but it does happen. So, you know, we have to factor all that in as well. It's such a hard decision to make. You develop a bond, they're like your little babies, and they are part of the family. So my kind of gut feeling at the moment is, why would you not at least have a go? Why would you not try? And I think my wife's finding it quite difficult. She really doesn't know. She wants definite, well, this, or this. She doesn't like the, well, it might be this, and we don't know about this. She doesn't like that. So she's, I think, trying not to think about it. But I'm trying to say to her, you've got to think about it, because making no decision is actually making a decision. So, yeah, we've got some tough thinking to do. Are you getting wet, Amber? Hi, miss. Yeah. You're such a puppy. Don't bite the hose. Don't you start. I'm out for a dog walk with Amber, and as you can see, she's trotting along very happily, and in fact I'm struggling to keep up with her, so she's fitter than I am. Weird, isn't it? There is a little bit of fluid still in there. The vet thinks that's probably blood vessels pressing in the liver from the mass, and they take the mass out and then that will correct itself, but that's a little bit of a guess. It's like a best guess. There could be that there's something else there, and when they open her up they could find something else. So it's a difficult one. Today's decision day. We have to decide what it is that we're going to do. Do we let her enjoy the rest of her days, however many that may be, or do we try and give her a bit longer? And I just don't know. I'm going to lose my hat. I just don't know at the moment. Right, it's the next day now, and in the end the vet didn't phone back last night. Unfortunately, there was a slight breakdown in communication, and what happened was, I now know, I didn't realise at the time, but she was really busy, and so she quickly sent an email last night, but the email dropped into junk, so I didn't get it and I didn't see it. So I was actually sat by the phone all evening waiting for her to call, and I'm supposed to go to my sign language evening class. Last night I was supposed to go, and I said, I might be a bit late because I'm waiting for this phone call, and in the end it got to, I don't know, about 8 o'clock, and I thought, is she still going to ring? Because I mean, they were 24 hours, these vets, so they could ring any time. And eventually, there's no point in me going now. Of course, if I'd read the email, I would have been able to leave pretty much straight away, and I would only have been 15-20 minutes late maybe. So yeah, that's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. So the basic premise now from them is that the surgeon thinks, yeah, you know, they can operate. There is that unknown still, which is that they don't know when they open her up what they're going to find exactly. They know from the CT scan what they're expecting to find, but it's possible that they could open her up and actually find something else, and it won't, you know, it won't improve her life expectancy removing the tumour. On the other hand, best case scenario, which is the one that they suspect is the case, they could take it out and she will effectively be cured. You're never really properly cured. The way the vet described it was that it will come back, but she'll have died of old age before that could happen. So, you know, in all intents and purposes, it is a cure. So, yeah, so we're going to go ahead with that. I'm just waiting to hear back from her later today to tell me which day it will be next week. Probably Tuesday or Wednesday. She said most likely Wednesday. So, today is Friday. So yeah, it's going to be a stressful few days. What is your sister doing, Misty? She's not bothered, is she?
She's quite ingenious because she worked out to push it to the side so that she could get to the bottom of the pan.
Yeah, what's your sister doing, Misty? Looking at the crumbs. I don't think there's anything in there, is there, Amber? You seek it out, Amber. You seek it out. That's what it was for Misty a minute ago. You seek it out then. She found it. Who's here amongst all those other toys? Good girl, Amber. What a clever girl. You and Misty are getting very good at this game. Clever girl. Well done. Yeah, good girl. So a bit of context. Today is Saturday. It's the day of the Coronation, King Charles III, if that floats your boat. And I had a bit of a sleepless night last night. I was a little bit, not too bad, but I'm just sort of, Amber's so well, and I just had these terrible thoughts about the fact that she could be going in for the operation in what, 5 days time, and that might be the last time I ever see her. It could be, you know, that's it. And there's this real sense of, if anything goes wrong, that I'm just going to feel so guilty that I didn't just give her a few extra weeks. But you know, you can't live on ifs and buts and maybes, can you, really? But you know, I wouldn't be human, I suppose, if these thoughts weren't kind of going through my mind. But it's, yeah, it's tough. So tomorrow is the day that I'll be taking Amber in to be admitted. And what's happened over the last 2 or 3 days is that this large belly of hers, which is the fluid retention, has kind of gone down loads. She's sort of, it looks as if it's not there at all now. I mean, maybe it's there a bit, I don't know. I mean, I can't see inside it, I don't know. But it's certainly not anywhere near as bad as it was. And that is the thing that the vets have been the most concerned about. So the fact that it's gone, is that a good thing? I mean, I would think on the face of it, that's a good thing. However, I don't know. I honestly don't know what that really means. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the vet says. I mean, when I drop off tomorrow, I'm half expecting it'll just be a nurse maybe that'll just be admitting her, because they're just admitting her tomorrow to do blood tests and a few other bits and pieces ahead of the operation, which is then the next day. So whether I'll actually see the vet or not, I don't know. But if I do see the vet, I'll certainly ask her about it. But that to me is giving me a little bit of hope. It's the hope that kills you, isn't it? So I'm trying not to get my hopes up. But yeah, I think that's a positive. Okay, ready, Abs? Okay. Yeah, good girl. You hold it then. You hold it. Good girl. Oh, nearly. Yeah, you hold it then. You hold it. Good girl. Good girl. In the box. Good girl. Well done. Very good. So today's the day, and I'll be taking Amber up to the vet specialists this afternoon. So what is it now? Yeah, okay, 10:10. And I've got to have her there for 4 o'clock. So I have sort of mixed feelings. In some ways, I don't want her to go. In other ways, of course I do, because I want this stuff to kind of happen and to go ahead. But you know, obviously it's fear of the unknown, I suppose, isn't it? So I've got to get through the next few hours and then get her up there and see what's what. Is that nice? I'll let you head in a minute, Anne. Chucking it down. So Amber has been dropped off at the vets, and I took her in. Something I didn't realise, she's gone in to have blood typing done today, and something that I didn't realise is that the reason for that, which is they want to make sure that they have blood available for the operation, so that if she starts bleeding, then obviously they can give her more blood, which stands to reason. But there is a shortage apparently, and that means that if they haven't got blood of her type, then they'll phone me to go and collect her, and they'll have to order it in, and then the operation will be put off until next week or whenever they can get the blood in. So I'm sort of nervously waiting. I don't know whether they're going to phone to say either way, or whether they're just going to phone if I've got to go and get her. I'm not sure, she didn't say. So yeah, I'm sort of slightly on kind of tenterhooks at the moment, and yeah, the roller coaster rolls up and it rolls down and it rolls up. How about you sit? Good girl. Now you wait. 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 Okay, reverse. Yay! Good girl. So I had a nervous sort of about hour and a half, and then she phoned to say, actually, no, we haven't got the blood. However, one of the other nurses, her dog has the same blood type, which is negative, and she's willing to bring her dog in tomorrow to donate some blood, so they've got some on standby for the operation, which is really nice of her. I've got to pay extra to have the process done, but yeah, that's fine. Of course it is, and it's really kind of the nurse to offer that. Of course, what might happen is if for some reason the dog isn't able to give blood, they can't get the blood, you know, something could happen that means that they don't manage to get the blood. And if they haven't got blood on standby, they won't do the operation. So there's still a chance, even now at the 11th hour, that it could get cancelled. So it's the day of the operation, we hope. And it was started off early. The day started early. My phone rang, and at home, my landline, I thought, oh, what on earth is that? And it was the care line people. My mum has a care line thing on her wrist that she can press and summon help if she falls or anything. And it had gone off and they couldn't get hold of her. So I had to come round to her house, but she'd set it off accidentally. So luckily she's all right. That's the main thing. So a rude awakening to D-Day. So here we are then. I have arrived at the specialist vet with Amber, who's in the back of the car there. I don't know if you can see her. Yeah. And here we are then. Today, hopefully, things are going to go ahead as planned after being put off last week. So I'm going to take her in and check her in, if you like, admit her, and we'll then have a nervous 24 hours or so to see what happens. Right, I've just taken Amber in, just got back to the car, and I saw a nurse in there, Caroline. She was really helpful, very clear about what was going to happen, all of the procedure. She went through everything in detail, and I went through all the meds and everything that Amber's got. So I printed out a sheet showing everything that Amber had had, when she'd eaten, the meds she'd had, all this kind of stuff. And I just hope they remember to give her the drug. I should have said as I was going, she needs a drug to be given now, and I just hope they remember to give it to her. So, but she was so helpful, and she even let me walk with Amber round to the wards, because I'm not allowed in the wards, but I was allowed to go and walk with Amber up to the wards, which was quite interesting. And she also said, which I think is good, and she said phone anytime, which, because when the operation was postponed, not aborted, because she wasn't in there yet, but when it was postponed last week, I mean, we weren't bouncing off the walls, but we were sitting there wondering what was happening, and then we had this last minute phone call. So she said phone anytime, it really doesn't matter. And you've got an option 3 or something, where you can press for inpatient updates. So as she said that, I will be making use of that without doubt. I shall definitely phone later on this evening. The shifts are 7 till 7. So I'll probably ring maybe 8 o'clock or something this evening, so that I can get an update, find out how she's settled in, whether she's had something to eat, and also I could actually check that she has had that drug. In fact, what I might do is I might ring when I get home, just make sure that she has had it, just to be on the side. I don't want to look like I'm kind of telling them how to do their job. But you know, these things are important. So anyway, there we go. We actually walked past the theatre where she'll be having her surgery tomorrow morning, and it's all very real now. Right, the operation has finally happened, and I had a phone call from the surgeon about half an hour ago, and he's very pleased. He said it went very well. The Amber didn't bleed, which is unexpected, but not impossible, of course, which was a great thing. That's a very good sign for her recovery. He's removed 2 lobes from her liver because the mass was really in 1 lobe, but it was very close to the 2nd lobe. So the plan always was that if it was close, the 2nd lobe would come out. But livers are amazing things. They kind of regenerate. You can take up to 70% of a liver out of a dog, and the dog will be fine. So it's an incredible organ. It's a weird organ, but it's incredible. So what else did he say? So they have noticed some little nodules throughout the liver. So they've taken a biopsy. They were going to do that anyway. We don't know what those nodules are. If they're cancerous, then obviously that's not good news. However, they may be benign. So they take the biopsy, and we will find that out in due course. So we're not out of the woods yet, but the first hurdle, the first part of the process went really well as can be expected. He's very happy. In fact, she did so well that he said she might even be able to come home tomorrow, which is incredible, really. But it might be the next day. So we'll wait and see what happens. So far, so good. So the surgeon has phoned. It's the next day. The surgeon phoned this morning. She did and I phoned there actually. I phoned there several times to find out how she was doing, to speak to the day nurses and the night nurses and find out what was going on. And Amber was eating well and drinking, and she'd been out in the sun apparently for little walks. So that's quite good. And the surgeon phoned this morning, so he had the operation yesterday. He phoned this morning, we had a nice chat, and he said she's doing so well, he's happy for her to come home. So going to go and pick her up this afternoon. I asked him about the biopsy. It's going to be up to 2 weeks before we hear anything, so it's got to kind of put that to the back of my mind, really, not really think about that too much. The fact is that she's done really well on the operation. She's recovering really well. We're going to bring her home, ask him all sorts of questions about exercise. We've got to keep her really quiet for a couple of weeks, and which is fairly obvious, no sort of stretching, that kind of thing, but she can basically eat a normal food and all that kind of stuff. Also asked him about other things. She has like a NexGard thing for kind of like a worming ticky treatment thing. He said don't give her any of that. She's due her annual vaccinations. I asked him about that. He said don't give her those. You want her immune system to really be concentrating on her operation and her recovery and not be doing anything else, so which makes sense. So that's quite good. I'm really looking forward to getting her home. So come and have a look at this. This is something that, squeaky door. This is something that one of our neighbours has kindly lent us. It's a trolley. So the plan is that we better take Amber out for pushes in the trolley. So that'll be good, won't it? I'm not quite sure what she's going to make of that, but it's really nice of our neighbour to let it. She had a Jack Russell called Rosie, and she had some sort of issues towards the latter part of her life, so she got the trolley for her, and she's kept it ever since. She's had several dogs since then, but she's kept the trolley, and she asked us would we like to borrow it. So that's really kind of her. So I think it's going to be really nice to get Amber out, get a bit of fresh air, get out from these 4 walls, and go out for a few pushes. We've got to find some appropriate surfaces to push it along, but I think that's really good. So Amber is finally back home after her operation, and she's looking pretty good. And as you can see, she's got a little vest on. It's like a surgical vest, I think they call it, and that's not one that we got from the specialist vet. They were going to give a cone. It's actually a soft cone, so it's quite nice. But I did mention to the surgeon about this vest, and he said, yeah, that's fine. So I picked one up from my local vet. It's a little more expensive perhaps than getting it online, but at least my logic was that the vet is going to have the correct thing for her. So for the sake of saving, I don't know, a fiver buying it online, I'd rather spend a drop in the ocean, bit more money, to get the one from the vet that I know is going to do the job properly. Not that the one that you might get from a certain well-known online retailer wouldn't do the job, but you know, they do sell an awful lot of tat in amongst the decent stuff. So I wanted to get, I mean, it's true. So getting it from the vet, you know, in the grand scheme of things, in the amount of money that all of this is costing, it's really not going to make any difference. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. It's a nice vest. It's something actually that the surgeon said she can keep on 24/7, but he said check the wound a couple of times a day just to look out for the signs of infection, which then of course they need to jump on straight away if anything happens. She's actually got a big plaster right across the wound, so we haven't seen it, but evidently the stitches are actually inside. They close the skin up and then the stitches are inside, and they're dissolvable stitches. It's all very clever. So there's no sutures, there's nothing to be removed. It's all very, very clever. So as long as it stays clean and she doesn't lick it for a start, but it's going to be fine, hopefully. And then that means that when it heals, you kind of won't see an awful lot. Yeah, so that it's all positive. When she got home, she had a bit of food, and it's amazing how quickly she's gone straight back into routine, because there she was. She hadn't been home very long, and we had our dinner, and straight away she wanted to lick the yogurt pots and give the dishes a pre-wash before they went in the dishwasher. So she's right back on. Yeah, I'm home. I'm happy. This is what I'm going to do. So yeah, it's like she's been away for a spa day as far as she's concerned. She's, you know, none the wiser to what on earth's going on. So anyway, we move on now to the next phase of this, the recovery phase. So we've got to try and keep her quiet for the next, well, really 2 or 3 weeks while this thing heals. No jumping, no running about. Good girl, Amber. Come on, Daddy. Yay, good girl. Right, you about then? Good tunnel. Yay, good girl. Oh, there it is on the floor. Good girl. Happy A-frame?
Okay, can we get everybody to come down here?
Oh, good girl. It's a sweetie. It's a sweetie. Good girl. Right, come on then. Good girl. Oh, you're such a good girl, Amber. Camps. And something I didn't say, the vet nurse said to me yesterday when I collected her that they score their pain threshold from 1 to 24 apparently, and with the higher the number, the more pain they believe that the animal is in. And Amber was scoring 1s and 2s, so which is incredible considering that, oh goodness, less than 48 hours ago she was going into major surgery. So it's incredible, really. It's not for you. He's a good girl.
Careful. I can see one there. Oh, yeah. give you one to start.
So here is Amber, as you can see, looking quite chilled out, which is good. It is a week and a bit after the operation, so we've been going out for pushes every day in the trolley. Amber must wonder what on earth is going on, because she spent 13 years going out for a walk. Well, it started off with carries when she was very, very, very small. But primarily for that 13 years, she's been going out for walks. And suddenly, we're shoving her in a trolley. She must wonder what on earth's happening. We are getting her out now occasionally, just for a little bit of a wander along. Just a little bit, and then back in the trolley again for most of the walk. Or most of the push. So there we are. But after this week, she's doing really well. It's difficult to tell whether she's putting weight on yet. She's certainly not losing any, so I think that's a good sign. But her weight, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to weigh her this weekend. Last weekend, she dropped to 9.1 kilos. That's the lightest she has ever been in her adult life. So she should be about 11. So she's quite a bit down. But that's like our baseline now. That's our starting point. So weigh her again after a week from that first weighing and see what she is. So all in all, things are ticking along quite nicely. No word on the biopsy yet, but just enjoying every day. And she's such a happy girl. Her tail's wagging. She seems really happy and engaged, and the wound is healing nicely. So so far so good. So you can see I'm smiling. I've literally this second put the phone down from the surgeon who did Amber's operation, and they've had the results of the biopsy back, and it's as good as they could have hoped for. It shows that the tumour, it was a very slow growing one that they took out, and there was some in the extra lobe, the second lobe that they took out. They could see some in there as well, so they did the right thing to take that out. Now, where they've stapled together her remaining liver, there are still some cells there, but he said it really is at the kind of almost sort of microscopic level, the way he worded it. It's obviously not microscopic because they can see it, but you know what I mean. It's absolutely tiny, and they say that, you know, that the chances of it regrowing from that are extremely slim, particularly as it was such a slow growing tumour to begin with. So they don't worry about that, and they see this quite a lot, but they have to sort of kind of keep an eye on her. So they want to see her again in about 6 months and maybe do another CT scan, but they'll see kind of how she is. Can you, eh? So I've been to the local vet this afternoon with Amber Chops. And good news there. I thought it was so good when we turned up there. There were 3 vets who were actually consulting, and separately, each one of them came out, "It's Amber!" They knew Amber was in the building, and they came out to make a fuss of her and said, oh, they've all been rooting for her. Everybody is so nice and friendly and supportive. It's just been wonderful. Anyway, she had the had the checkup, post-op checkup, and Jess, the vet, was very happy with her, said we don't have to put the straight jacket on her anymore, the medical shirt, which is good. And so we just basically keep going. She's happy with the wound and how it's healing. So she had a look at her eyes, because she's had eye problems in the past, and she thought that one of them was a little bit low on the tear duct test that they do, which Amber was fine with. She has both of the bits of paper hanging out of her eyes at the same time. She just sort of stands there. She's always been very good at that. And so we've got to keep an eye on that, do some eye drops sort of 4 times a day, but we do eye drops with her anyway because of her allergies, so got no issues there. Basically, we are on the road now to going back to normal, which is just wonderful. It's been such a good day. So Amber then gradually got more and more back to normal, and her recovery was incredible. We just couldn't really believe how she had done. I mean, this was a dog who is really in later life, if you like. She is a senior. Dogs become seniors around 7, 8 years old, and she was 13 and a half. So she's well into her dotage, if you like. But this was just incredible, amazing, just so life affirming. And while all of this had been going on, I'd had a terrible year really. My mother had passed away as well. So losing Misty, losing my mum, Amber's operation and cancer, this had been a bad year. So after a few months when Amber had really was recuperating very well, I'd taken her back to training school and everything was ticking along. We went away. We went away, got a cottage for a few days in West Sussex, and off we went. Hello. How are you? Come on then, let's go. But it's amazing, really. It shows what can be done. That the surgeon and the care that Amber got at the specialist vet is just off the scale. How they look after the dogs and how they treat them, right from the moment that you get in there, right to when they're discharged, is unbelievable, really. It's a level of care that you'd expect in human medicine, and you're getting it very much in veterinary medicine now as well. It's incredible. So it's coming up to a year, almost to the day in fact, since Amber had her cancer operation, and she has survived 12 months and is fit and healthy. She's doing well. As you can see, she's trotting along, enjoying her walk. She's been deaf for probably about 3 or 4 years, so long. It precedes or predates all of this cancer stuff. But certainly over the last few months, her eyesight had deteriorated. I think it was deteriorating anyway. But the vet has had a look at that and said, well, her pupils aren't properly dilating, so she finds bright days. It's a bit bright today, but I'm walking down a shady path at the moment. So in the shade, she's not too bad. She sort of speeds up, but when it's bright, she's can't see very well. But unbelievably, I am still taking her dog training. So I have a dog who is deaf and almost completely blind, and yet thoroughly enjoying life and still going dog training. Where is he?
Is that the right one?
Look, she's looking at the bag. God bless her.
Horrid. Go near her. Go near her. She thinks that's somebody's name.
She's about a decade older than most of the other dogs in the class. I may retire her actually at the end of this school year in July. That might be time for her to put her paws up. We're on our way there now, aren't we, Amber? We're on our way to dog training. So she's still enjoying life, which at the end of the day is the most important thing. So what's the future hold? Well, I don't know, lots more walks, I think. I mean, she still strides out now and goes for walks just like she did 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, doesn't seem to want to slow up on her walks. She's still striding out. And yeah, I've just got to, she'll find her way around home okay, which again is the most important thing. And she, yeah, she does really well, actually, considering that, you know, she's 14 and a half now, nearly, and she can't see and she can't hear, and she actually does remarkably well. And as long as that continues, and as long as she still enjoys life, I will carry on taking her out places, and she'll just carry on being the wonderful part of the family she has been for all these years. And that's all you can ask for, really, isn't it? So as long as they've got a good quality of life and she's enjoying it, well, that's the main thing. So what can you take away from this? I think probably if you're given terrible news by your vet, stop and think. I mean, we were told in that very first one where we were told, oh yeah, this isn't very good. We were told, oh, do you want to put her down now? Which is still something that gives me nightmares. But, you know, we went away to think about it and saw somebody else, or a different vet when we went back, who said, well, have you been told what else you could do? We said, well, no. He said, well, you could see a specialist and see what's really going on, which is what we did. And I'm so pleased that we did that, because here's Amber a year later and showing no signs of slowing down.
Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. I think I found it now. What I've been looking for. Isn't it beautiful? It's got my head all up in the clouds. I think I found it now. Everything I want might be a miracle. I know I'm never coming down. I don't gotta worry about a single thing. I can feel the light coming down on me. Sunshine on my face. I got sunshine on my face. I don't gotta care in the world right now. Higher than the ceiling, breaking through the clouds. Sunshine on my face. I got sunshine on my face. Yeah. I got sunshine. I got sunshine. I got sunshine. I gotta let you know, it's so incredible. I'm finally letting go. Up, up and away, yeah, we go. I found my flow right on time, and now I know what it feels like to shine like gold. Up, up and away, yeah, we go. I don't gotta worry about a single thing. I can feel the light coming down on me. Sunshine on my face. I got sunshine on my face. I don't gotta care in the world right now. Higher than the ceiling, breaking through the clouds. Sunshine on my face. I got sunshine on my face. Yeah. I got sunshine. I got sunshine. I got sunshine. I gotta let you know, I got sunshine. I got sunshine. I got sunshine. I got sunshine.